Dungeons and Dragons is a great game with a lot of depth, but some people see it as a little too overwhelming. I'm here to help you make your first character. There's a lot of different things out there to help you figure out what you want to do, but some people say there's a little too much. I don't know, like maybe Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, you got the Out of the Abyss, Lolo's Guide to Monsters, Curse of Strahd, Xanathar's Guide. You don't need any of this. All you need is this, some paper, and a character sheet. There are a multitude of different things to consider when you're making your first character. Step 1 is going to be race. There are a lot of different races in Dungeons & Dragons, all with their own benefits and flaws and all those kinds of things, like half-orcs, humans, half-elves, dwarves, dragonborn. We're going to stick with something very straightforward, and we're going to go with the half-orc. It has a lot of different base abilities as well as stats that will help us survive in this world. Now, step 2 is going to be figuring out your class. Basically, what do you want your half-orc to be able to do? Do you want it to be able to tank, be the brawler, the guy that can take all the damage and keep going? Do you want it to be the damage dealer, the one who sits afar and does a lot of damage, killing things very, very quickly? Or maybe even a spellcaster. Someone who can manipulate the forces of the world and heal their party or support their party or deal explosive damage very, very quickly. Right now, again, we're going to do something very straightforward, something easy to do, and we're going to stick with the fighter. Step 3 is going to be figuring out your character's stats. Now, there are 2 ways in Dungeons & Dragons right now that's mainly used to figure out your stats. There is rolling for stats, and there is the point buy system. Rolling for stats is pretty straightforward. Take 4 6-sided dice, roll them, you add them up and drop the lowest number. So this would give us a stat of 13, dropping this last 3. You do this 6 times, getting your 6 stats, and then you do it again to get a second set, and you pick the set that you want the most. That is how you roll for stats. On to the point buy system. Point buy is another way of figuring out your stats that allows for a little bit more control of what you want your numbers to be. How it works is all of your stats start at 8, and you have 27 points to spend. The table on the right here shows you the cost of whatever score you would like to have. To keep your score at 8 costs nothing. To go up to 9 costs you 1 point, and so on and so forth, as you see on the table here. This allows for a greater control over your character's numbers, but then it also has one downside, which is that your numbers can't get very high by comparison to rolling dice. Now this is where you're going to actually have to talk to your DM, your dungeon master, the one who's running your game, to figure out which system you're actually going to use to figure out your stats. Stats. I guess we're going to be rolling for our stats. After all of your rolls, you're going to get 2 sets of numbers. You're going to pick one, and this will become your pool for your character's stats, and you will assign them accordingly to how you want your character to play. The set we're going to go for is this one right here. Now that we have our stats, we're going to go to step 4, skills and saving throws. Stats are important because they affect your dice rolls. They make them either better or worse based on the stat that the roll is based on. That's why you have proficiencies, and that's where we're going to now. Based on your character's class and race, you're going to have specific skills that they are proficient with. Since we have a fighter, we're going to have saving throws that are proficient in strength and constitution. Their skills are going to be animal handling, and acrobatics.
Now, I didn't just pull those skills and those saving throws out of the air. The player's handbook will actually have your class and your race's proficiencies for skills and saving throws in the player's handbook, so make sure you use that for reference. Now, don't forget that your race will have special abilities as well as other skills that they are proficient in. The half-orc is proficient in intimidation as well as the other skills that you've already seen. They also are proficient in 2 languages. Common, which is the English of this world, as well as Orc. Now they have a couple of other abilities that are very interesting as well. The first being Relentless Endurance. This basically allows your fighter to be able to keep going even though their hit points go down to 0. And brings them back up to 1. It's a very useful ability. The other ability that they have is called Savage Attacks. This allows you to roll more dice whenever you get critical hits or anything like that, which is good because we talked about this before. More dice is always better. Continuing on with class skills, we're going to do one more thing. The fighter gets 2 class features whenever it starts out at level 1. First of all, you get to pick a fighting style. This could be anything like archery, being able to use ranged weapons a little better, protection, being able to defend your allies as long as you have a shield, or great weapon fighting, using a big 2-handed weapon to better beat your opponents. We're going to go ahead and go with protection because it's the best way to be able to protect those around us as well as ourselves. The other ability that they get is called Second Wind. This allows the fighter to be able to bolster themselves with a sudden surge of energy to be able to raise their hit points to better be able to survive in a fight. You guys looking pretty beefy now. Now that we've got our stats situated, we're going to go ahead and go on to step 5. That is equipment and associated stats. Now, in the player's handbook, for whatever class you pick, you're going to have the equipment already ready for you to use. So we're just going to go ahead and do that because it's very straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and use chainmail. For our armor, we're going to get a martial weapon and a shield, so a long sword and a shield, that'll work. We get a light crossbow or 2 hand axes. I'm going to go with 2 hand axes. And finally, a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. We're going to go ahead and pick the Dungeoneer's pack because you want to be able to search through all that dungeon and be able to find all the hidden things. Your armor class is a great stat. Basically what it is it tells how hard you are to hit. The higher it is, the better. Because of chainmail, it's considered heavy armor, so it gives us a great defense of 16 for our armor class, but no bonuses because it is heavy armor. But we are using a shield. Shield gives us a little bit more. Shield actually gives us a +2 to armor class, so armor class actually becomes 18. That's pretty good. The other stats that we have available to us are initiative and speed. Now your initiative is just based off of your dexterity modifier, and for our character it's not that good, it's only +1, so that goes there. Your speed, however, is based off of your race. Half-orcs are pretty speedy, they can move up to 30 feet. That'll make more sense whenever you actually talk to a DM and actually get into a game, but for right now, that is your speed. Next, hit points. Hit points are how much health you have, how much damage that you can take before you go down in a fight. Now, for a fighter, it's going to be 10 plus their constitution modifier. So for us, that gives us an HP of 13. Now, the only other thing left is hit dice. Hit dice is just a dice that you can use for certain mechanics. Fighters get a hit dice of a D10. That is a 10-sided dice. For right now, that's all you need to know. On to step 6, background. Your character's background is there as a way to help you figure out how to roleplay your character in any given situation. There are a lot of different backgrounds in the player's handbook. We're going to head with something a little bit more straightforward. Again, soldier. Fits the fighter pretty well. There are a lot of different tables in there that'll actually help you figure out all the different aspects of your character's background, like his personality traits, bonds, flaw, ideals, all those kinds of things. You can roll for it, or you can pick your own. Mix and match it. we went ahead and rolled for it, and I'll show you my results now. Character's personality trait. I face problems head on. A simple, direct solution is the best path to success. Sounds like a soldier to me. His ideals for the greater good. Our lot is to lay down our lives in defense of others. His bond. Someone saved my life on the battlefield. To this day, I will never leave a friend behind. His flaw. I obey the law, even if the law causes misery. Now these things will help you open the door for RP, roleplay, to be able to better flesh out your character and act how you think they would act in the world using these guidelines. They're not there to hamstring you, they're there to help you think of ideas for how the character will react in the world. Another part of this is your character's alignment. Based off of what we see here, this character seems like a hero, a budding hero on the rise. So we're going to go ahead and go with the lawful good alignment. Now, if you want to know more about alignment, you can always talk to your DM and see if there's more in mechanics-wise that your DM will want to do with it. But for us right now, that is all you need to know. It looks like you're going to have a lot of empty space because your second and third pages aren't really going to be filled out very much right now. Your second page is going to be a lot more of your backstory when you actually get it nailed down, the specifics. This would be like giving your characters' families names, their past friends, other acquaintances, and all those things like that. You can actually have somebody draw out the appearance of what your character looks like if you want to. The third page for our character, not really useful. This is for spellcasters. You don't really need that right now. But this right here is basically all you need. With this, you can go into your first game with your dungeon master and the rest of your friends, and you can play a game. Remember, this is just a game and it's there to have fun, so have fun with it. Be there, have fun with your friends, have fun with the DM, get to know everybody, get to do everything that you want to do. Remember that your DM is not there to kill you. He is there to help you. He is there to help you tell a story, and you are there to help tell a story with him as well. Yeah, that is the perfect give and take for this game. That's why this game is so fun. If you have any other questions, you can always have them in the comments. But for right now, that's it. Go play your first game.